keen interest in our local history, so we are pleased to present for you today a most intriguing story. It involves a Revolutionary War hero and his family. And perhaps you've heard of the great plantation Smithfield? But that is where our story begins. Now, in the past, these humble players have recreated actual historical court cases that happened in this very space. Now, today's drama, even though it involves a family from Isle of Wight, does not actually occur within these four walls, nor does it occur within the space of a single day, not even a single week. No, our story begins in 1809, right before the Second War with Britain, and it will not end until 1823 when, well, you shall see. Now, I mentioned the Revolutionary War hero. Well, this is him. This is Josiah Parker. Now, I know he seems rather quiet right now, but let me assure you that during the war, he was a right terror to our British enemies. Our Colonel Parker here, as we should have to call him, was present at the Battle of Trenton, Princeton, Brandywine, and Maynooth, just to name a few. Now, when Colonel Parker retired to private life at his estate of Smithfield, he began to invest his money into very lucrative real estate ventures. Yeah, not only a war hero, but wealthy as well. And some people would think it vulgar to speak of his vast riches. But as you shall see, the estates that Colonel Parker held will become very important. Very important indeed. And like all good stories, Colonel Parker had a daughter, Anne, his only child. As our story begins, she is nearing the age of 35. And that is her eldest son, Josiah.
Whoa, young man.
Listen. Ego, Teco, Afti, Checky, Aftos, Checky, Afti, Chekun, Emmys are Chekumen.
That sounds mighty fine. I didn't understand a word of it, but it sounds mighty fine. Hello, man.
Hello, Father. Betty said I might find you in the garden.
Can we shoot guns now?
In just a minute.
You said you would show me how to shoot guns today.
No, I believe I said I would show you how to properly handle a gun today. And I will. But first I must speak with your mother. Why don't you go see if Betty has a treat for you?
I will, but you promised.
Josiah is very impressed with that new tutor you hired for him. Well, I'm very impressed with his ability to beat Greek into that boy's head.
He's a smart boy. He will become the gentleman his grandfather always wanted to be. I never had that kind of polish when I was younger.
Oh, Father.
A little bit of Greek might have done me good.
I don't recall you lamenting your lack of Greek during the siege of Charleston.
No, indeed. And I'd like to discuss the matter with you that's rather serious.
Oh, not today, Father. Let's just visit with one another. I feel like I've hardly seen you.
No, I'd rather get this out of the way. When a parent reaches my age, they have a responsibility to make certain arrangements for their children and their families. This I have done. I spoke with my lawyers last week, and I have filed a new will, and I wish to tell you its contents.
Father, no, I'll learn of that when the time comes.
No. I'd rather you know now rather than be surprised. Not that there's anything in it that should surprise you. You are my only child, and by all rights, everything I have should go to you. But until this great commonwealth of ours gets its head on right, I cannot leave anything to a married daughter. Therefore, I have left it all in trust to Josiah.
Josiah.
Naturally, I have made it clear that you are to serve as guardian until he comes again. You, not that husband of yours, you have more sense than he does. Why, if I leave it to you, then it would go to William. And well, it's Parker money, and I just seen that Cowper not get his hands on it.
He is my husband.
If he is your husband, then where is he? Why does his family live in my plantation? Why does he not provide for his wife?
He has not for your sense of business.
He is a spendthrift. 2 years at sea as a merchant. He comes home with $5,000 and still asks me for a loan so that he can open a store, which has ceased to operate. Why?
His was not the only store to have gone out of business in the past 3 years, Father.
It's worse than that. He lives beyond his means, and he expects you to live modestly and give up on your little pleasures.
It is a wife's duty to live modestly and to manage what money her husband provides for her.
No, it is a husband's duty to provide a comfortable life for his family. Now, Macclesfield will always be here for you as long as you choose to live here. But I could wish that you had a home of your own. How long have you been married now?
8 years.
And all but for 6 months, you have lived with me.
May I say, sir, you approved the match.
Yes, I did. At the time, his partnership seemed to be going so well. If I had known that it would fail and 2 months later you'd be back under my roof,
I do not think it was his intention for his business to fail, Father.
You're just saying that because you've always been a loyal wife.
I have tried.
Well, my estate will go to Josiah when he's 21, and until then, you will manage it for him. That's that. He's a good boy. He will take care of his mother and his sisters. I have only one request. You are my daughter, and I love you more than anything. But I have always dreaded the thought of the Parker name dying out in Virginia. Therefore, I've erased it, and I hope you can forgive an old man's foolishness. But Josiah's inheritance will only come to fruition if he takes the name of Parker. You think me vain?
Not at all, Father. I think you wonderful and generous.
Well, we'll leave it up to Josiah to decide if he wants to inherit the whole pack of troubles.
Yes, Father.
You keep after him about that grief.
Of course, Father.
No one could have foreseen just how relevant this conversation would be. Colonel Parker passed early the next year, peacefully, surrounded by his family. not soon after his father-in-law passed, William Cooper obtained a copy of the Colonel's will and then paid a visit to his attorney.
Come in, Mr. Cooper. How do you do, sir?
As well as may be expected, Mr. Lewis.
May I offer you a glass of wine?
No, thank you.
May I say how terribly sorry I was to hear of the death of Colonel Parker?
No one was more sorry than myself, Mr. Lewis.
How's Mrs. Cooper bearing up?
She's broken.
Your children are a great comfort, I'm sure.
Yes, but I'm not here to commiserate. I need your advice as my attorney.
Of course. If you were wondering about the bankruptcy suit brought against you, it appears no.
I wish to have this will for my late father-in-law explained to me.
Oh, of course.
When I first read it, I thought it to be fairly straightforward. Now I just can't seem to quite grasp the implications.
It is straightforward, Mr. Cooper. Your boy stands to inherit a great deal when he comes of age. If he changes his name, of course. Land in Ohio, the West Virginias, stocks in several shipping companies, bonds, a sizable inheritance.
Yes, but that's just it. When he comes of age, and if he changes his name. What if he were to change his name now?
Well, if he were to change, if he waited until he was 21 to change his name, then the will is quite clear. Your wife will manage the estate until then.
And I can't touch a penny of it. Yes, I understand that part.
If he were to change his name now, well, he would come into his inheritance now. And you, as his legal guardian, naturally would take control of the estate until he were old enough to manage it himself.
If he were to change his name and die,
God forbid!
God forbid, then as his legal guardian, it would all come to me.
Surely the acquisition of any sum of money, no matter how great, would never compensate for the loss of your oldest son.
Of course not.
Well,
Well, as I said, I merely wish to have the finer points of this will explained.
your wife is a manager of the estate until your son changes his name. Were he to do so before his 21st birthday, you would become the manager as his legal guardian.
And also stands to inherit an annual income of £100 each year, along with some household items, slaves. It seems quite strange that we might have thousands, and yet she must make due on £100 a year.
It is the prerogative of the will's author to make decisions regarding his money and estate. Anne may, as the manager of her father's estate in trust, decide it is in the best interest of the estate to sell or rent certain properties. This is one way she might create an income without reducing the capital, which would be untouchable until Josiah changes his name.
And she would not need my permission to do this.
Your wife is an intelligent woman. I'm sure you can trust her to do what's in the best interests of your family.
The best interest of the Parker family, you mean.
As your legal advisor, I advise you to accept the terms of this will. Guide your wife in the management of the estate until Josiah comes of age, and then accept any provision he makes for his parents at that time.
Is that your final word on the matter?
It is.
And I thank you for your advice.
You're welcome, Mr. Cooper.
You will likely hear from me in the near future with further instructions.
You can probably guess that that is not where Mr. Cooper left it.
It should have come to me.
And you must understand, we're talking about a great deal of money. Even the smallest amount will do strange things to people.
I am the head of this family now. It should have come to me!
Hush, William. You'll wake the children.
How could I wake them in this great house, this monument to your father's wealth and standing? Macclesfield, your father always looked down his nose at me. He thought you married beneath your station when you became my wife. And that's why he snubbed me. That's why he's cut me out.
It's his money. It's his estate. It was his to do what he would with it.
That's easy for you to say. The guardian of a great fortune for a little boy. What's to stop you from dipping into it whenever you so choose?
The money belongs to your son. How could you accuse me of wanting to rob my own child?
I know how you justify it. You'll say you want to send him off to a better school. And the next thing you know, you'll be selling off properties left and right. Oh, and he'll go to that school. Meanwhile, you'll be redecorating the house and buying new frocks.
How dare you? When have I ever put my own desires ahead of those of my children or my family?
Unlike me. Is that what you're implying?
I've never accused you of anything. I know more than anyone how hard you were to provide for this family. I have defended you against anyone who would say otherwise, even my own father.
You must include me in the guardianship of this estate. We will manage it together.
No, I will not. You've been bitten by some terrible desire for me. Some need for money is making you crazy. We must be modest and wait for Josiah to decide what to do with his inheritance.
Your father wanted Josiah to become a gentleman, so why not us? Why not now? Why wait? We could make Macclesfield our home and become the gentry the Coopers were always meant to be.
I never wanted a grand house, a fine estate, any of that. All I asked for was that you provide for me and the children that God granted us. I thought that would be enough to make you happy, but you've never been happy. All our married life, you've tried one scheme after another to make your fortune. And when they failed, you've become more miserable than before. And they've all failed. Even when you had Father's backing.
Enough!
Even now, we might live happily on £100 a year. You're not content. How long will it take for you to spend all of Josiah's inheritance? 5 years to 1?
Enough! I will not let my wife speak to me this way. You may have control over some things, but under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, I am still the head of this family. I am still Josiah Cooper's legal guardian. I'll petition the House of Delegates to change his name, and once it is legally Josiah Parker, I'll send him to a monastery in Portugal. And if he dares to step foot in Virginia again, I'll kill him.
William! William!
And he moved quickly to make good on his threat, too. Now, some of you may be scratching your head at the mention of the House of Delegates. Now, the only way, during this time, you may find it hard to believe, but the only way a person could legally change their name was to petition the House of Delegates. You would send a petition to Richmond, it would be read in committee, and if found appropriate, then the delegates would pass a legislative act making it so. Cooper's petition appeared on November 26, 1811.
Hear ye, the House is now in session.
Welcome to the Virginia House of Delegates. This is the Speaker of the House, Mr. James Farley.
We will now hear petitions. The chair recognizes Mr. Lewis, an attorney from Smithfield, presenting a petition on behalf of Mr. Cooper, also of Smithfield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If it please the House, I will read a petition from Mr. Cooper requesting that his son's name be changed from Josiah Cooper to Josiah Parker, that he may immediately come into some property left him by his grandfather. To the Honorable Speaker of the House of Delegates and members of the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the petition of William Cooper respectfully showeth unto your honorable body that Colonel Josiah Parker, deceased, laid of the county of Isle of Wight in this state by his last will and testament, duly executed and recorded in said county, devised to the son of your petitioner, Josiah Cooper, an infant of 9 years of age, a considerable estate, both real and personal, on the express condition that he should take the surname of Parker. Wherefore, in conformity to the wish of the deceased, and that the son of your petitioner may be capable of taking and enjoying the said property devised, your petitioner prays that your honorable body, by a legislative act, will alter the name of your petitioner's son from Josiah Cooper to Josiah Parker, and your petitioner will ever pray, etc., etc., etc. Signed, William Cooper.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
My client will be happy to hear that the House presented no challenge to his request, Mr. Speaker.
Unfortunately, Mr. Lewis, your petition is not a foregone conclusion. The House now recognizes Mr. Shaw, an attorney of Smithfield, representing Ann Cooper, also of Smithfield.
Mr. Shaw?
Mrs. Cooper has reason to believe that her husband will misuse Josiah Cooper's inheritance, and she has stated to me that Mr. Cooper has threatened to kill his son.
Oh, really? I know Mr. Cooper, and I hardly think him capable of murder.
May I?
Please proceed.
To the honorable speakers of the House of Delegates in the legislature of Virginia, that your memorialist, having reason to believe that her husband, Captain William Cooper, intends to petition your honorable body to pass a law to change the name of our eldest son, Josiah Cooper, to that of Josiah Parker, in order that he may thereby be immediately endowed with the estate bequeathed to him by his grandfather, is therefore induced to the painful situation of opposing her husband's inclination. First, because it was not the intention of my father that the name should be conferred on our son, who is not yet 9 years old, but on the contrary, that he should be left to his own option to take it or not when he arrives at his years of discretion. Secondly, because if my son is invested with the name of my father and dies under age, then my husband inherits from our son to the exclusion of myself, who am now the heir at law. Thirdly, I have great reason to believe that if the estate was to fall into the hands of my husband, he would in a very few years dissipate it all away, so that both myself and children would be destitute. Your memorialist could urge a variety of other reasons powerful against her husband's petition, but is restrained by delicacy from doing so. Your memorialist therefore prays that her husband's petition for altering the name of their son may be rejected, and your memorialist, as in duty bound, will ever pray. Ann Pierce Parker Cooper.
Well, in light of these two petitions, it is clear that additional information is required. Mr. Lewis, Mr. Shaw, please inform your respective clients that no decision has been made. Josiah will remain a Cooper for the time being. The petitions are dismissed.
This would not be the last time that William and Ann Cooper would cross each other in the House of Delegates. It seemed that William was getting more desperate. In December of 1812, William Cooper again petitioned the House of Delegates not to have his son's name changed this time, but to sell a piece of property that's part of the estate.
The House will now hear petitions. The chair recognizes Mr. Lewis, an attorney of Smithfield, representing Mr. Cooper, also of Smithfield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The petition of William Cooper, guardian for his son, Josiah C. Parker. Honorable sirs, this petition is put before you requesting permission to sell a piece of property amounting to $600 or $700, that he may repair the cypress mills left him by his grandfather, which will provide a suitable income for the boy, who is now 10 years of age. And furthermore,
Mr. Lewis, may I interrupt you momentarily?
sir,
It is my impression that the boy's mother is the manager of the estate.
yes, sir, that is correct.
Well, what does she have to say about this matter?
She does not have the boy's best interest at heart. She allows the cypress mills to fall to ruin when they might be put to work providing an income for her son.
Does she provide a home for the boy, an education? Is he clothed and fed?
Yes, of course.
Well, if the guardian of the estate does not see a reason to sell the properties to provide for the boy, then I see no reason why the boy's father should do so. The petition is dismissed.
Your Honor!
Yes?
Sir, these properties are languishing for want of investment. Surely it would be best for them to be developed, for their worth to be increased until Josiah Parker comes of age.
The estate already amounts to a substantial sum. It will be up to the boy to decide what he's to do with it when he comes of age. Until that time, the petition is dismissed. There being no further business on today's calendar, the House is dismissed.
This petition was presented a full 2 years after Colonel Parker had died. Does it seem like William Cooper was getting to be as desperate as ever? William Cooper was undeterred by his denial in the House of Delegates. He even published in several newspapers.
She was finding her spot. Sorry. She lost her place. That's okay. That's okay.
He even published in several papers that of his intention that the boy's name should henceforth be Parker, and begin to refer to him as such. Now, everything he could do, he did, short of the legal absolute name change that was required for Josiah to inherit his grandfather's estate. Now, as I said in the beginning, the story begins in 1809, but it would continue for several more years. Let us jump now to the year 1815, when William Cooper again petitioned the House of Delegates to have his son's name changed, but was once again thwarted by his wife.
It is outrageous. Oh, I agree. The man tries to convince everyone that he is the conscientious head of a family, a responsible man. Yet has he once proven himself to be so for his wife and children?
I think you are incredibly courageous, Anne. It takes a brave woman to stand up to a husband like this.
It's not brave, it's instinctive. William threatened to kill my son. understand. He is instead driven crazy by the thought of money. I just don't understand.
Have you seen Mr. Cooper much in the past 5 years?
I have not. I understand he has a small dwelling in Smithfield. He keeps away from me, thank God. However, he will send me the most awful letters, accusing me of crimes of which I couldn't begin to even tell you here, not even to you.
Oh, Anne.
I tell you, not a word of it is true, Lucretia. Why, if my father hadn't left me his house, if I were living with William now, I don't know what harm would come to us all.
You speak of his threats against Josiah?
I do, but before this whole business began, before Father's passing, there were other signs. I shouldn't mention it as a wife, but there were moments when he would forget himself and raise a hand to me. Of course, afterwards, he was ever sorry and repentful. I tried to forgive him, but I just never could trust him again. That's why I took his threats against our son so seriously.
Anne, you have spoken plainly, and I must do the same. I suspected as much when you came to visit me all those years ago with that horrible bruise on your face and that story about walking into the door.
I could never say things so plainly to a lawyer, to a man. But maybe that is why people look so incredulous when I tell them that William threatened the life of our son. Because only I know how he can be in his most private ranges.
Now you mustn't worry, dear. Your lawyer, Mr. Shaw, is putting up a good fight against William's lawyers. Josiah will remain a Cooper until he's of age. And then he'll take good care of his mother. You'll see.
If only I could know how this would end. It will be years still until Josiah comes of age, and his constant vigilance has already worn me down so.
Oh, you must think of your son, of all your children. You're not fighting for yourself. Why, you're fighting for their future. Before, when your husband was unable to provide for you, you were always able to rely on your father. But if Mr. Cooper takes possession of Josiah's estate, why, of Macclesfield itself, then you will be truly destitute.
It is simply just not fair, Lucretia. My father gave me an education that would be the envy of any man. And yet here I find myself at the mercy of lawyers and my husband, the man I don't love or trust at all. If only I could stand up in the House of Delegates myself, I could convince them once and for all of the seriousness of my claim.
Now, just because you can't stand before them yourself doesn't mean they can't hear you. Mother! Father's here!
What?
Hello, Anne. They said at the house that you'd go and visit.
Mr. Cooper, I don't recall inviting you to enter my garden.
You did not, Mrs. Gwaltney.
Then I beg you to leave.
I only wish to speak to my wife for a moment. Come home, Anne. You do not have to hide at your father's house anymore. We'll be a happy family again. No more petitions, no more lawyers. We'll talk about this business just between the two of us, yes? And we'll come to a decision together. It's time to stop airing family secrets all over the Commonwealth. Don't you agree? Come home. Come home with me.
No, William. I can't do that.
Anne.
No, William. You know why.
Is it the money? I know you've been selling off some of Josiah's land to pay for your lawyers. Think of how foolish that is when we could work this out just between the two of us.
I believe you have your answer, Mr. Cooper.
Not at all. And for the last time, come home.
No.
No.
Well, there's the answer then. I have never been a man who could force his wife to do something against her wishes. But if you go against your husband, against what's natural and ordained, then I don't think you're fit to raise my children. Therefore, it is only my duty to bring them home so that they won't be under your poor influence.
What do you mean?
Josiah, come here.
No.
Josiah, come here, I said. We are going home.
William, don't do this.
Now, you made your choice. I gave you a choice, and you made it.
Josiah, you don't have to go.
Oh, well, he does. Josiah, say goodbye to your mother.
Mother? William!
We'll all be quite cozy, I assure you. And hopefully, you'll come to your senses soon, and we'll be one big, happy family.
God, my children! Lucretia, he's taking my children from me.
Sit, dear, sit.
I never thought him capable.
Sit, my dear. Shall I call for the doctor?
Call for Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Shaw, the lawyer?
Yes, I must. This has gone far enough. I must do something. I cannot wait until Josiah is 21. My God, my children living with William Cooper. This must end.
My dear, he's right. He is their legal guardian. There's nothing more you can do today. Calm yourself. We shall consult with Mr. Shaw tomorrow.
No, this has gone far enough. Money, property, it's all nothing. But he has taken my children from me, and that I cannot allow to happen. All this began when I was fool enough to become his wife, to trust that he would make the best decisions for me. There's only one option left to me. I have to emancipate myself from him.
You cannot mean.
Divorce, it's the only way. I shall become an emancipated female, and I will regain custody of my children.
Divorce? Oh, no, dear, you'll be an outcast. Better to live estranged from your husband. Bring about a petition. Ask for custody of your children.
What court would grant custody to a mother when there is a seemingly responsible father in the picture? All the meanwhile, he will teach them to hate me.
But divorce?
Yes. All this began when I was fool enough to become his wife. It is time I corrected that mistake.
No, not divorce. But dear, only the French get divorced.
No sooner than the decision had been made than Ann Cooper began to take the necessary next steps. Her divorce petition would be the longest document she had ever written and sent to the House of Delegates. It would contain supporting statements from her friends and neighbors, but also included the most damning evidence from Ann's own past. It must have been a painful document to draft, but it was certainly a painful document to read.
Mr. Shaw, I'm terribly sorry to bother you.
Oh, Mrs. Cooper, how do you do? Please forgive me, but you are looking rather bad. Please, let me get you a drink.
No, thank you, Mr. Shaw. I dare say I do look rather worn these days. My husband has taken my children from me, and I wish to submit another petition to the House of Delegates.
Another petition?
Yes, but this one of an even more personal nature. I wish to petition for divorce.
Mrs. Cooper, this is a very serious decision.
Yes, I know it is, but I believe it is the only way I and my children can have any peace from William Cooper.
Of course. Of course.
What must I do?
Well, the best course of action is to gather statements on your behalf. Statements from male friends of your acquaintance who can support your assertion that you are better off liberated from Mr. Cooper.
Can I not speak on my own behalf?
Oh, yes. You will write the petition in your own words, but it will have more weight if you have supporting documents from friends.
Male friends.
Yes. And just like all the other petitions you filed with the House of Delegates, we present your petition for divorce, and if the House believes that there is evidence to support your case, it is granted.
How simple.
Yes, but do not underestimate the power of your voice in these proceedings. Your testimony as to your husband's actions will speak the loudest. Leave out nothing that will support your case. Remember, this may be your only chance at a successful petition.
Anne's petition to the House of Delegates was read on November 20th, 1816.
Mr. Speaker, I humbly take leave of the House to present a petition from Mrs. Ann Cooper, who is seeking a divorce from her husband, Mr. William Cooper. This petition details several abuses endured by Mrs. Cooper during their marriage, and quite clearly lays out the case as to why she should be granted this divorce.
You may proceed, Mr. Shaw.
To the honorable speakers of the House of Delegates and the Legislature of Virginia, the petition of Ann Pierce Parker Cooper, a distressed and unfortunate female who has fallen from prosperity and affluence, humbly represents unto your honorable body, who she is informed has power to afford her that justice and redress of her grievances which humanity requires. She was the only child of a fond and affectionate parent, the late Colonel Josiah Parker, who I hope deserved well of this country, for his life was devoted to its service. He was among the first who espoused her cause in her greatest difficulty and danger, and was one of that convention who formed our state constitution. He entered the army, drew his sword, and fought in defense of the rights he had asserted in her councils. And this is aside from my client. My father's merits are not mine, but I hope they may excite some sympathy for the unfortunate and only offspring of an old soldier. In 1802, I married Captain William Cooper, who had commanded the United States sloop Baltimore. Here commences the sad narrative of my misfortunes. In a few months after my marriage, the house of John Cooper and Company failed, in which house my husband was a joint partner. He made no exertions for my support, and I was left destitute. My father, touched with my situation, took me again to his house, where he declared he would support me and divide with me his last shilling.
After my father's death, my husband's indifference and mild cruelty increased to outright violence. I tried living with him as a wife, but all my efforts were in vain. He broke my furniture, he burned my clothes, he whipped me with a great carriage whip. A little while later, when I was pregnant with our fourth child, he attempted to throw me from our phaeton. And when he was unsuccessful, he ordered me to destroy the infant I was carrying. I offered him my penknife and I bared my bosom to him. I told him if he might only stab me, he would effect his purposes in ending both the child and I. He ordered our servants to dig up the bones of my mother, my father, and all of my relations who were buried at Macclesfield.
even offered a man in the neighborhood $200 to lash me, but thank God the man would not come. My prayer is that you will submit a law divorcing me from my husband. Long experience has convinced me that this is my only resort. My life I could resign, but the love that I bear for my children entwines around my heart and inevitably impels me to exert myself for them. Grant my petition. I humbly pray.
Mrs. Cooper, your petition for divorce is granted.
Now, perhaps William Cooper realized that nothing he could do or say would change the fact that this great windfall of money was destined to pass him by. He thought he was going to live the rest of his days easy on his father-in-law's estate. Instead, he found himself alone, penniless, and friendless. And to be sure, he continued to protest to the House of Delegates and to anyone that would listen that he had been wronged, that his wife's divorce was not binding, that the money was his, and that his wife should come home to him. But she never did. And in 1819, Cooper died, finally leaving his wife and children at peace. Now, I hear some of you say, this started out with a property dispute and ended with a divorce. And Cooper was granted the peace of her heart's desire. But what about young Josiah? Did he become the gentleman that his grandfather desired? Did he inherit his grandfather's estate?
The House will now hear the petition of Mr. Josiah Cooper.
For the last time, we will now jump ahead to the year 1823.
The House will now hear the petition of Mr. Josiah Cooper.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to present a petition to the House. Having lately reached my 21st birthday, I would like to petition to change my name to Josiah Carter, that I may inherit the estate my grandfather left me.
Well, Mr. Cooper, we've heard quite a lot about you. We've heard an awful lot about you. Your petition to change your name is without objection is granted. Congratulations, Mr. Parker.
And that is how in 1823, Josiah Cooper became Josiah C.